I've got an email here that may answer certain questions, bring to light certain things. Taking a sip of Sprite Zero here from Matthew. Don't you see, Matthew? Mr. Cornette, he addresses me, and I like that tone. I have smartened myself up to your business. Your co-host hails from New York, a pizza mecca. Yet he books his pie like AEW books a match on a football field. Your co-host claims that biscuits and gravy aren't a breakfast food in the North when the dish can be found at any respectable breakfast establishment in all 50 states, and when his fellow New Yorker Paul Heyman looks like biscuits and gravy in human form.
Oh, that's awful.
Perceptive, but... Your co-host claims his non-Christian identity prevents him from enjoying A Christmas Story, while non-Christians like you and I love this cinema classic. Mr. Cornette.
Cinema classic. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
A Christmas Story. It'll shoot your eye out. Mr. Cornette, in this era where the wrestling business is exposed and everyone thinks they know everything, in this era where a nationally televised promotion tells us heels and baby faces don't exist anymore, it's you, Mr. Cornette, who is out to prove it is still possible to get heat around the wrestling business. The great Brian Last is you creating wrestling's finest heel. The co-host is all a work makes a lot more sense than the idea of any real person having such terrible taste in food and film as what we hear on the podcast. Bravo, Mr. Cornette, for proving even in 2020, you can still work the marks. Would you care to respond?
I would love to respond. First, let me ask you a question. This Matthew, if that is indeed his real name, did this dumbbell say where he's from?
Hold on, let me see if there's any clues here. No, it's a general Gmail type of thing. There's no particular... He uses excellent grammar.
Were you looking for Gmail? Were you looking for his address to get a clue to where he's from?
Well, no, usually something that's like .uk or whatever.
Okay, that's true.
You know, you see where I'm going. Yeah, see, you're backing up now.
I'm backing up.
But it's very well written and grammatically correct, but there's no regional or geographical colloquialisms to determine where he might be from. What does that have to do with anything?
I just wanted to know so I could shoot this down even further, but a few notes. One, I happen to be from a pizza mecca, so I know that good pizza doesn't need a bunch of shitty toppings to dilute the goodness, to quote Jim Cornette, to dilute the goodness of good pizza with a bunch of unnecessary toppings. Now, if my style of pizza was truly the AEW of pizzas, what did he say? What was his exact line?
Hold on, his exact line was, he books his pie like AEW books a match on a football field.
That is not true, because if that was the case, each slice would be completely different. One would have pineapple, one would have anchovies, one would have cookies, one would have ice cream on it, one would be just salad. That would be an AEW pizza.
You got me there.
Thank you very much.
You got me there.
Now, on the topic of cinema, and I think anyone who listens to the show regularly knows that I love cinema. I love a good film. I have a massive library in my home. At this point, I have films on VHS and DVD and Blu-ray and then digital files of the same films. It's gotten ridiculous. I need to get rid of some stuff. But A Christmas Story is not...
What about 8 and 16 millimeter?
Not films. I have some Woody Woodpecker cartoons on 16 millimeter.
I have those also.
Let me go back to what I was saying.
But I can't remember which pecker I've got on 16 millimeter. I think Woodpecker's on 8 millimeter.
It was either that or the guy at the truck stop.
Yeah, that pecker.
Let me go back to what I was saying before we started talking peckers. A Christmas Story. What did he say? What was his exact line about A Christmas Story?
Is your memory going bad on you? He said that, well, for one thing, here's the comment. Your co-host claims his non-Christian identity prevents him from enjoying A Christmas Story, while non-Christians like you and I love this cinema classic.
Cinema classic. That was the line. Bullshit. It is not a cinema classic. It is a movie that came out in 1983 that no one gave a shit about until Ted Turner started airing it nonstop for Christmas time. That's it. It was never a movie that people said, oh, I can't wait to see this again. No, until it got pounded into people's brains over and over and over again. Like movies, for guys who like movies on TBS, it is not a classic. It's repetition, and you've accepted it.
The anger in you over Christmas. Why is this war on Christmas?
It's not a war on Christmas. It's a war on bad cinema. It's not even a good movie.
It's a heartwarming
There's a few good scenes. It's not even a good movie. There are good scenes.
With good scenes. There's one good scene after another. Everybody remembers of the dogs taking the turkey, or they go into the Christmas tree place, or the lamp, or old Darren McGavin, my favorite Night Stalker guy, going downstairs to cuss the furnace.
Well, listen,
all these
Kolchak.
things, the Red Ryder BB gun, the Eat More Ovaltine, the little orphan anti-decoder ring.
Oh yeah, this what a great film. Listen, you want to talk about a Christmas classic? March of the Wooden Soldiers airs every year up here in New York. Laurel and Hardy.
New York had to figure something.
Laurel and Hardy, Mother Goose. You get everything you want in that. Barnaby. Bunch of scary ghouls. We even get the colorized version that airs up here.
I'm not saying so there can only be one classic Christmas movie. I'm not knocking March.
No, but the idea.
But I love Laurel and Hardy, and WPIX can go fuck themselves though. But
what's your problem with PIX?
Well, they're not the only TV station in the world.
No, they're not. But you have a problem with WPIX Channel 11?
They're the ones that show it, aren't they?
They are.
Well, fuck them then.
They also have the Honeymooners
They ought to be
marathon.
showing A Christmas Story.
They also have why? Because TBS is airing it nonstop for, 2 days?
Well, they can compete.
Which is the only reason anyone considers it a classic. Because Turner aired it nonstop, a tradition that continues to this day. That's it. If you had to rely on people renting it and watching it and seeking it out, it wouldn't be a classic because no one would see it. It's the repetition, because Ted Turner at times could be lazy. It's the repetition from it airing on TBS and Turner Networks over and over and over again.
Now you're
starting in the mid-'90s. I never heard anyone before, 95 or 96, talk about what a classic A Christmas Story is.
Well, sometimes these little gems are overlooked in the entertainment world, and
that's
the
true.
big budget.
That's true. That's Casablanca
the big
took
budget
a while.
emissions get over.
That's true.
Yeah.
Casablanca was just one of, 500 Bogart films released that year. I understand.
Yeah.
But no.
Anyway,
the idea that everyone has to
say
accept
you won't watch a Charlie Brown Christmas.
No, watch that. That's a classic. I wouldn't call it a whatever this guy said, a cinema classic.
Cinema classic.
But it's a classic. It's a classic.
Name
another movie with that kid from A Christmas Story, the blonde kid with the glasses. Name another movie with him.
I can't remember what his fucking name even is. As the actor's name. I don't care.
And that says something, because you remember every minute name of every minute actor in every film you've ever seen.
Besides for Darren McGavin, all those people only exist to entertain me in A Christmas Story.
That kid was in another movie in the 80s. I just thought of it. It was him and Joaquin Phoenix and some other kid, and they rescue a Russian, I don't know, sailor, but like a submarine something. This Russian military guy comes up to the shore. I think his name was Misha, and they rescue him and they put his shoulder back in place. And that's all I remember about this movie. I saw it in the 80s. I haven't seen it since.
Yeah, big fan of cinema.
But boy, that kid's career really took off after that film.
Well, that's because he did it so brilliantly the first time he was typecast forevermore in a Christmas cinema classic.
Have they announced yet where and when AEW is doing their table read?
No, I think actually Shaquille O'Neal is going to be involved in that with Jane Cargill.
What about Mike Tyson?
Tyson will probably be there too, and also Judge Crater and Amelia Earhart will be all a part of AEW's table reading of Judge Crater. Kids, look that one up. Walked around the other side of a horse in full view of broad daylight and full view of people and was never seen again back in the 1880s.
I don't know why it still cracks me up, but whenever I see Caddyshack, a cinema classic, that I stop and watch anytime it's on TV, when Rodney's in his yacht and the plane goes over his head, he's like, I just got hit from Amelia Earhart. For some reason, that stupid line gets me every time.
What was Amelia Earhart's co-pilot's name for $1 million?
Oh, shit. Jim Barnett.
No. Fred Noonan.
Oh, Danny Noonan was the kid in Caddyshack.
Well, see, it's 6
Wow.
degrees of separation there.
Look at this, 2 different connections to Caddyshack.
All right, well, we've gone off my goddamn segue, so we'll go back to it. Those Christmas films, well, I'll tell you what, you want to talk about something that you can watch for Christmas that'll bring a smile to everybody in the family's face?
Yeah.
That's a skylight frame.
That's right.
Because you don't just sit there and watch one picture, you watch innumerable pictures. Because with a skylight frame, you set it up, you can update it by email from anywhere. People can send you pictures that will instantly pop up, and then you can tap the screen and thank them for doing it. You can do the slideshow thing. Multiple people can send photos to this frame. It's got a gorgeous 10-inch touchscreen, so you can swipe through everything. As I said, you can do the slideshow regardless. Whatever it may be, family, friends, places, beloved pets, candid photography. You can do any kind of pictures in a skylight frame, and you can either buy it and set it up for yourself on your desk or countertop, or you can buy one for a loved one, a friend, a family member, whatever, and bring them a little joy in their life at Christmas time by seeing pictures of all the kiddies. Have I pretty much accurately described this wonderful skylight frame, Brian Last?
All I could say is I personally own one, and I've bought now 2 as gifts for members of the family, and they love it too. So I can say from firsthand experience, I love mine, and the people I've gifted it to love theirs. It's fantastic.
And also, as we've said, you've got that one sitting on your desk right next to your command station there that has rotating pictures of you in various moments of glory throughout your life that you can admire and take inspiration from.
We didn't say this, you said this, and it isn't true.
Well, that's what you say. Folks, anyway, there's 100% satisfaction guaranteed. If you do not love your skylight frame, they'll give you a full refund. Remember, you can buy it, set it up, you can preload it and send it out as is, or you can send it to somebody and everybody can send them the pictures. They call them importing pictures these days. Anyway, just go to skylightframe.com. That's SKYLIGHTFRAME, skylightframe.com. Everybody listening to this show knows how to spell that stuff. Those words aren't too big. And use the promo code DRIVE. That's skylightframe.com, promo code DRIVE, D-R-I-V-E. You get $10 off your purchase of a skylight frame. And remember, that's on top of the guarantee, 100% satisfaction or your money back. Skylightframe.com, promo code DRIVE. Every frame they send you will have a picture of Brian Last on it. You can just preload those, can't you? Or do they have one sitting around the office there, the home office of Skylight Frame in Lincoln, Nebraska?
I'm not going to comment on my relationship with the fine people at Skylight Frame, but I love my Skylight Frame. That's filled with pictures of my family and dog. Not just me.
Do you have to label which is which so people will know?
And various members of the New York Mets.
And just no-sell my childish insult.
That's right.
Various members of you have pictures of members of the New York Mets on your skylight frame.
There may be a picture of Tom Seaver and Keith Hernandez in there.
Well,
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Candid photography, locker room.
No,
stuff?
not candid photography. Perhaps Dwight Gooden, 1985 on the mound.
Dwight Gooden would be candid, but nobody else will.
There was a while, I know you don't follow baseball, there was a pitcher who, I forget what college he came out of, but he was a college athlete, a pretty bright, well-spoken guy, and he was someone that they predicted would have a great future. His name was Chris Benson, and he came up with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he did all right, and then the Mets got him in a trade. And he had already shown some signs of his body breaking down, and in the end, he wouldn't live up to his full potential. But this well-spoken, well-educated, nice guy married this woman, Anna Benson, who was a stripper that he met. And she was like out of control. And she came with him to New York, and every article was about her and not him. And she said, if he cheats on me, I'm going to sleep with every member of the team, every single one of them. And, she posed nude. She did all these things. But I don't know what candid photography about the Mets made me think of Anna Benson.
Do you have any pictures
to
of Anna you can send to my skylight frame down? I'd like to see Anna. She sounds like she was one of the boys.
You know what? Fortunately, I could use the Skylight Frame app and send it right to your frame. Actually, I could.
Well, there you go. See, folks, it is a wonderful thing that you can do with this technology these days. Skylight frames, trademark.